The disciples who surrounded Jesus heard from him that Jerusalem would persecute them, that it would be destroyed, and finally that they had to flee from the city to the mountains when the Roman army approached. Jesus firmly promised this, and the following verbal formula that Jesus had used before is consistent with this fact. It will happen in this generation's lifetime. However, for a certain reason, these words do not come immediately after the words about the destruction of Jerusalem, but after other words of Jesus. And this order of words has caused confusion for many centuries. All the evangelists repeat the following in one voice: "And immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." Those who read the Gospels of Matthew and Mark have the feeling that the second coming of Jesus will happen immediately after the destruction of Jerusalem. According to Luke, this will happen only after the time of the Gentiles has passed, when Jerusalem will be trodden down by the nations. However, they are all absolutely convinced that Jesus will definitely return, and that this appearance will be in power and glory. As we know, the destruction of Jerusalem did indeed take place during the lifetime of that generation, but the second coming never happened. How did it happen that the apostles conveyed Jesus' words to us incorrectly? However, in the text of the three evangelists, there are three details that restore the correct picture. First, the second coming will take place when the gospel shall be preached in all the earth. This condition was not met then, nor in the Middle Ages, nor even now. The word preached must not be understood as simply told, but properly explained, so that a decision is made to accept or reject the gospel. Apparently, this requires the global spread of Christianity, and Christianity as Jesus himself understood it. Secondly, Jesus gave the following clue: "But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, but only my Father." How long did Christians not want to notice that the time of the coming was in no way connected with the destruction of Jerusalem, as the early Christians believed? However, the evangelists must be given credit. Even in the form of an obvious contradiction, they preserved Jesus' words that no one knows the time, although they were clearly convinced that it would happen soon, either after the destruction of Jerusalem or after a short time of the Gentiles. The most important hint of Jesus, which also does not fit into the apostolic idea of the imminent coming, concerns the example of the fig tree. Learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branch becomes tender and puts out leaves, you know that summer is near. Jesus loved comparisons with plants and dedicated several parables about the kingdom of God to them. For some inexplicable reason, many generations in their interpretations of this text associated a flowering tree with the blossoming of lawlessness, catastrophes, upheavals, and so on. Although this is a clear indication of the spiritual spring, the beauty and fullness of life, when our civilization begins to accept the gospel, we love to look at and photograph spring trees. That is when the second coming of Jesus will be possible. And apparently, this will not happen soon, after many thousands of years of human development and the spread of the gospel.